In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to read the text to find figures of speech and rhetorical questions. In the third paragraph of Patrick Henry's speech, we find both examples. Let's look at the first sentence. Mr. President, it is natural to man to indulge in the illusions of hope. Easy sentence to understand. He's saying it's natural, it's easy for men, anybody, to look at hope, to look for hope, to look to hope. The illusions of hope. Great, we understand that. Next sentence. We are apt to shut our eyes against a painful truth. Okay? That's pretty universal. We all, when we see something that's painful, that's truthful, we usually shut our eyes. We stop our ears. We don't want to hear the truth. We don't want to see the truth. What do we do instead? We look at hope, is what he's basically saying. But what he's also saying here is that we listen to the song of the siren till she transforms us into beasts. This is an allusion to the Greek mythology of the siren. It's an interesting allusion here because normally we think of the sirens as the ones, who Odysseus and his men listened to, and they would draw men to their death. But here, Patrick Henry is saying that she's going to transform them into beasts. That's fine, but it's still a metaphor. So what is the song of that siren? Why do you think Patrick Henry uses this particular metaphor and allusion here? Well, I think he wants us to see that he doesn't want the people who he's talking to listen to the siren, to listen to the easy way out. He wants us to listen to and look at the painful truth instead. Because if we look at the easy thing, then that's listening to the siren, we're going to turn into beasts. So that's really important for us to remember. The second part are the two rhetorical questions, and they're in pink. Here's one, and here's two. And in both cases, they're questions that Patrick Henry would not have expected anybody to answer, but he would have expected them to totally agree with him. So here's the question. Here's the first one. Is this the part of wise men engaged in a great and arduous struggle for liberty? So in other words, he's referring now back to this metaphor that he created, and he's expecting them to say, no, of course not. We're not going to be listening to the song of the siren. We're going to be wise men because we're struggling for liberty. And in the second one, are we disposed to be the number of those who, having eyes, see not, and having ears, hear not, the things which so nearly concern their temporal salvation? So in other words, again, referring to this idea of not listening to the sirens, are we the men in front of you who are going to, even though we have eyes, we're not going to see the truth? Even though we have ears, we're not going to listen to the truth? In other words, he's telling them the truth, and therefore they all are going to say, no, we're going to listen to you, we're going to watch what you say. Because these things are going to concern their salvation. In other words, saving the country. And then I'll just finish it up. For my part, whatever anguish of spirit it may cost, I am willing to know the whole truth, to know the worst, and to provide for it. He ends with some parallelism here, which I don't have marked. To know the whole truth, to know the worst, and to provide for it. In other words, what he's saying at the end here is that I'm the one who's going to stand forth against the sirens, and I'm going to know the truth, even if it's the worst thing, and I'm going to make sure I prepare for it. In other words, this is what he wants the Virginia Convention to do. So in this paragraph, we see a lot of rhetorical and figurative conventions.